What's going on, good people? As always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever you watch my content. And it's always like, comment, subscribe, and share. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back, feeling much better. I'm actually getting ready to head to work. We'll head back to work or whatnot. But I was sent something this morning. And the reason I'm talking about it now before I go to work, because when I get home this evening, I might not get a chance to do it, and this is something that we spoke about on my platform on numerous occasions, and I just feel like it's appropriate for me to talk about this since I brought it to my platform on numerous occasions. But before we get into it, happy holidays to everybody, and let's get right into it. All right, guys, there's a story out of Indiana, and it says that a foster family of 4-year-old killed after reunion with the birth parents. A 4-year-old was killed after reunion with birth parents. All right, and answers are being demanded. So let's have a listen to see what's going on with this. All right, and if it seems like they're rushing, I apologize, guys, but I gotta do this and head on straight to work. All right, so let's have a listen.
Mother says a 4-year-old who spent most of his life under her roof died months after a court ordered him to be reunited with his birth parents. Gina Hullett said she tried to alert the Department of Child Services of abuse happening inside his birth parents' home for years, but was ignored. Tonight, our Madison Stacy has a story behind a heartbreaking case, now prompting new legislation at the State House.
Just everything's a constant reminder. Dandelions. He would squat down and pick up the little flower, the dandelion.
Judah is not Gina Hullett's biological son, but from the start, he was always her baby boy.
He called me mommy, called my husband daddy. My kids were his siblings.
At 4 years old, he was already a comedian.
Cheese.
He liked to dance. He loved to dance.
Baby.
That's you.
Baby.
When Judah was born in 2017, Hullett discovered he was placed in foster care. As Judah's second cousin, the Department of Child Services arranged a kinship placement so Judah could be surrounded by family. That also meant Judah was required to spend some of his time in the home of his biological parents. Early on, Hullett suspected abuse at the home.
It's very, very sweet and loving up until he would have visits and then he would come home angry.
Hullett says she tried multiple times to alert DCS to the potential abuse, but that they never acted on her claims.
I'm screaming for help and nobody's listening.
But Hullett at least knew he would be safe once he got in her arms. Judah seemed to know that too.
Oh, every time he'd come home from a visit, he'd tell me, "Take off your shoes, mommy." He knew if my shoes were off, we weren't going anywhere. He wasn't going to visit, we were staying at home. He would scream and they would have to pry him off of me because he did not want to go to visit.
In April of 2021, Jenna says a judge mandated that Judah be sent back to live with his biological parents for a trial home visit. Any further access to Judah would depend on his biological parents, her cousin Alan Morgan and his wife Mary Yoder, who denied the Hullett's access.
And then it went from 3 days a week to just completely ripped them from us, put them with them, and we weren't allowed to visit them. So in my eyes, he was probably scared, didn't understand why we dropped him off there and never came back. I was mourning him then, but I always had hope that we would see him again. I even told my husband I'm going to start writing him letters so when he gets older, I want him to know that we always loved him.
But those are words of love Judah never grew old enough to hear. On October 11th, police found 4-year-old Judah, the boy who loved music and dandelions, dead on a bedroom floor of his parents' home. Court documents show he was found naked, covered only by a blanket and bruises. An affidavit also shows Mary Yoder told police her husband would shut Judah in the basement, naked and alone, dimming the lights as a scare tactic. She said Judah was bound with duct tape and beaten as punishment for not being potty trained.
Only the other thing I can do is try to make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody else. I'm tired of hearing about the system failing children and babies, and nobody should have to bury their child. And although I didn't give birth to him, he was my baby.
And Judah's story has caught the attention of state lawmakers. State Senator J.D. Ford met with members of the Hulett family. He just filed a bill that centers on making changes to what information DCS must include in their end-of-year child fatality report, specifically about children with a previous history of abuse.
We need to get this information, and we need it sooner rather than later. We need to do more.
So Gina keeps pushing, because for Judah, it was already too late.
I'm having such an overwhelming amount of stress. I'm only doing this because I want awareness for other children. I want justice for Judah. It's the only way that I can pay him back, is to try to get justice for him, because it didn't have to happen. It shouldn't have happened. He was happy with us.
Judah's father faces charges of murder
Wow.
and neglect. His mother
Wow.
faces neglect charges. Both pleaded not guilty at an October arraignment. The family is holding a benefit lunch and vigil for Judah in LaPorte tomorrow. We do have more information about that event and details on the legislation inspired by Judah. That can be found at WTHR.com.
Okay. With that being said, what she said at the end, I totally agree with. This is why a lot of us do this on our platforms, you know, to bring awareness. And for what I'm hearing, some of our platforms have even brought more attention to certain things that need to be talked about. And some of our platforms has gotten people off the streets, whatnot. I can't say for sure if my platform ever got anybody out the streets or whatnot. But however, though, you know, the more voices that speak on things like this, you know what I'm saying, the more the word is getting out of what's really going on. Now, the thing with me is, even though I'm not a father, but I really hate to hear children in the foster care system, you know. I mean, I think every child should be with the biological parents. I mean, if the biological parents not doing all that now, if they not doing all that abuse and stuff like that, then that's what they need to be with the biological parents. But we know how this goes sometimes. A lot of people bring the child protective services in your lives and whatnot, you know, because they doing it out of spite and whatnot, and it just fucks up the whole family mechanism. So, you know, this is crazy. And for some reason, here we go with another story that, well, she claimed that she made calls to the child protective services, and yet nothing was done. But again, you know, people who make false calls to the child protective service, for some reason, they own it automatically for what it appears. And again, I can speak on that because, again, it happened to me. You know, somebody was staying with me and somebody called child protective services, and they came to my house twice. So, you know, I can speak on that aspect of how disrespectful that is, and how it makes you feel to have them people come to your house, especially on the allegation that was made. You know, I mean, that's sickening for somebody to do that, you know. So I don't, but other than that, I don't root for nobody children get taken away. I don't root for nobody children be in the foster system, because the more we do these stories on our platform, the more that we see that the system is either fucked up, corrupt, or they pretty much feeding these children on the silver platter to criminals. You know, I mean, they're just the way it is, you know, and I don't think I need to be a father to see that, you know. So let's see if they got the parents' names up here. The boy name was Judah Morgan. He was 4 years old. I want to see they got the if they got their names up in here. Well, let's see. Okay. Okay, guys, I really can't get into this because my time is short. Yeah, I may have to come back and read into this. I just do a little update to read into it, and well, let's see. Okay, it says in the early hours of. I'm gonna see if I can skip through it. Let's see, can I skim through this real quick? It says in the early hours of October 11, 2021, LaPorte County Sheriff deputies wound through shadow thickets of rural Union Township roads following the path to a home where two people told dispatch a little boy lay unconscious. One person reported the boy was not breathing. The boy's mother called police a little before 3 a.m. saying her husband lost his temper and hurt the kids. Oh boy. When authorities arrived at the house, court records showed they were greeted by a lawn filled with garbage. Authorities say they were hit with the smell of urine and feces upon entering, finding 3 small children and no adults inside. Court records state a matted, starving dog was locked in the cage, trapped in his own excrement. More animal feces was on the floor. Inside one of the bedrooms, officers located an unbreathing boy. He was naked on the bedroom floor, covered only in fluffy blanket and bruises. An autopsy would later reveal the boy died of blunt force head trauma. His name was Judah Morgan, and he was 4 years old. And they got a young man right there. The house where he died, reportedly trashed with litter and animal feces, was not his only home. He had another with a different family who had not only taken him in as a baby but were blood relatives. Now that Judah is gone from this world, it is his other family who claimed they tried to alert DCS to abuse happening inside the home where Judah later died and were ignored. All right, guys, I'm going to stop it right there. And if y'all want to read this yourself, I will copy the link and post it in the comment section or description box and let y'all read the rest of it yourself. And throughout the day, you know, I'm going to look for updates and see what's the update on this story, you know. So other than that, but anyway, guys, you know, that's another thing that's involving foster parents. That's one of the main reasons why I did this story, you know, is involving the foster care system or whatnot. But seem like this time, well, I have to say, seem like this time they may not did nothing wrong, but then again, I may be wrong if I say that. It seemed like this time, it's like another one where they kept, I guess, allowing the children or the child to go back to where the abuse was happening at, because it had to be a reason why the child was in foster care in the first place, you know. And I'm assuming this is the reason why it was there in the first place, because of the abuse and the alleged neglect. So guys, please stay tuned for this one. And stay tuned for more stories like these on your man Chris Thorns. Y'all take care of yourself and each other. Ladies and gentlemen, please take care of your kids and protect your kids. Catch y'all next time. I'm off to work. Peace.